What is going on, guys? BriarRabbit here. Today, Bungie released update 1.0.3 for Destiny, and it is by far the most comprehensive update to this game since the release. So in this video, I'm going to go through all of the changes. I'm also going to put a link down in the description where you can read about them all at your own pace. So let's get right into it because there's a ton of stuff to go over. Voice. So they added a new social feature that enables users to access a channel for team chat. Match-made teammates will now be able to talk to each other in strikes and team-based Crucible matches, which is awesome. So anytime you get match-made with other people, you will now be able to talk with your teammates. That is a great feature. People have been really looking forward to this, including me. Classes. They fixed an issue in which two players who performed a melee lunge simultaneously would teleport through each other. They fixed an issue in which blink strike damage would be caused by colliding with the blink strike rather than the melee impact, and they fixed an issue in which warlock bombs dismantled into Titan materials. Weapons, they got a few fixes here. They reduced the camera shake when being hit with explosive rounds. The clown cartridge got modified. They replaced clown cartridge perk with other perks in the shotgun upgrade trees, and Headseeker fixed an issue in which the bonus precision damage perk did not always get applied. They also made some changes to the activities in missions. The Buried City fixed an exploit in Mars that would clear all enemies from Clovis Bray. The Winter's Run strike was updated to fix an exploit zone in the Axer boss encounter, and difficulty will scale less for 3-player fire teams, making strikes less deadly for them. That should be a welcome relief to teams. Heroics fixed an issue in which engrams earned during daily and weekly heroic activities were not displayed in the post-game Carnage report. Now, I made a video earlier about the Iron Banner. They've also mentioned it here. Players must now be level 20 and above to lead an Iron Banner fire team. Players below level 20 can only accompany players above level 20. Lord Saladin now has 5 reputation ranks, increased from 3. And there were 2 new features added, Tempered Buff and Reforging. So next up, cinematics. They fixed several issues with the synchronization of cinematic subtitles in various languages. They changed some of the destination. Combatants fixed an issue in which Vex Cyclops with Hive Shrieker health bars would not update properly, and reduced the number of stealth sword vandals that spawn in the basement of the terrestrial complex on lower difficulties. That is a really specific one. Events. Public events will occur 10 to 15% more frequently in all public spaces. That's going to be a really welcome change. Vendors. They made a ton of changes to vendors here. Increased the number of bounty slots in the inventory from 5 to 10. So now you can carry up to 10 different bounties at once. Added shaders to Eva Levent's stock in the tower. Shader preview functionality added to vendor and inventory screens. Emblems on vendors can now be previewed in the inventory screen. Marks and reputation icons in meters were adjusted to better differentiate the two. They fixed an issue in which strange coins and motes of light would not route to the postmaster if your inventory was full. Fixed an issue in which engrams were not displaying the possible contents in the Cryptarch vendor menu. Fixed an issue in which players did not receive bounty or mission credit when assisting in the killing of a Walker or Vex Cyclops. Armor stat upgrade potentials added to item compare on vendor and inventory screens. So that is a lot of changes for the vendor. I'm really happy to see a lot of them. PvP, they made a few changes here as well. The general changes are enabled revive scoring for skirmish and salvage. They fixed an exploit with revive scoring when entering a kill volume and having a teammate revive you for easy points. Adjusted join-in progress settings for all playlists to minimize long periods of unbalanced teams due to players quitting out of matches. They added new functionality to match pre-formed fire teams against each other. This will slowly roll out over the playlists over time, but we'll start with the 3 vs 3 playlists. In 3 vs 3 games, fire teams of 2 or more players will match together more frequently, and in 6 vs 6 games, fire teams of 4 or more players will match together more frequently as well. Medals won't be beat now triggers correctly when a team wins a game after coming back from a 500-point losing deficit. Mark of the Unbroken no longer requires a minimum player account. Sum of all tiers no longer requires a minimum player count either, and sum of all tiers should now trigger consistently. So they made a couple fixes to the maps. First Light implemented multiple fixes to stop players from getting into advantageous positions. Blind Watch addressed some balancing issues for the control game type by moving zones, modifying routes, and adding cover objects. Adjusted landing and respawn points to accommodate new geometry changes. Added protections to prevent players from getting on top of a pipe high above the intended playable space. Firebase Delphi added protections to prevent players from getting outside the intended playable area between Control Zone A and the Crane Room. Rusted Lands blocked off the monitors above the Control Zone A to prevent players from hiding in them. Shores of Time added a Vex Pillar to prevent players from sniping through the small gap on the Ninja platform. Implemented multiple fixes to stop players from getting into unfairly advantageous positions. Exodus Blue, multiple fixes implemented to stop players from getting into advantageous positions, especially the giant hose reel near Control Zone A. Fixed an issue with the visibility culling behind Control Zone A. Twilight Gap adjusted landing points to keep players from fighting too soon in rumble matches, added protections to prevent players from getting into unintended areas, for example atop the security camera at Control Zone C, added geometry to fill in small gaps that let players see out of the world. They also made some changes to the HUD. They improved the readability of grenade and melee recharge states, improved the visibility of objectives in the motion tracker, improved the visual look of revive waypoint and last man standing, added skull modifier descriptions to the navigation mode screen, fixed an issue in which the name of downed teammates did not always display on screen. In Orbit, Destiny version number added to the character login screen, added dialogue imagery for various events, fixed an issue in which new items available from the special orders vendor would not show up in the message count in the director screen, fixed an issue in which a PlayStation Plus dialogue was mistakenly shown when selecting a specific PvP activity, added countdown timers for weekly and special events, fixed various issues with director animations, fixed an issue which the player inventory screen would sometimes close during certain points of the spaceflight sequence, added the post-game carnage report for the previous game during matchmaking search, and the menus were even changed. The general fixed an issue in which a cursor speed in 4x3 and PAL was not consistent. Roster. Network connection quality indicators now added to the roster. New icons added to the scoreboard and roster to indicate voice problems due to connection issues. Added support for direct FireTeam joins from the roster on Xbox One. And inventory updated spin metal, relic iron, and helium filament icons to better represent in-game visuals. Fixed and updated several talent tree icons. Audio, improved audio cues for sticking others and being stuck with certain grenades. Fixed an issue in which an audio cue would not play when completing a bounty. Fixed an issue in which Guardian Down referenced the wrong gender in French, Spanish, and Portuguese. Technical, there were a couple of bug fixes here as well. Added the ability for the Bungie DOC to send in-game alerts and messages. Fixed stability issues across all platforms. That'll be a welcome change. Fixed an issue that would cause a rare crash during spaceflight into activities, improved patch installation process, implemented PS3 specific performance optimizations, and fixed some issues causing beetle and lionfish kicks to orbit. So, as you can hear, this is a massive list of changes, and I read through them really quick. I don't even have time to kind of discuss which are my favorites, but I'm really happy about the new voice chat stuff. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. I know it was a long one. Again, there is a link for the complete list on Bungie.net down in the description of this video. You can kind of peruse this list at your own pace. Thank you again for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.